Just wanted to do kind of a quick video of the Lanard Aliens toys here. The toys themselves, they're pretty detailed and they have some good paint deco on them for the most part, but the overall articulation and I guess the posability for a lot of them isn't necessarily the best. I wish there was just a few more joints in a couple locations, and we'll kind of go over that here in just a few moments. And just one that that one's a little hard to stand up, pick them up, and kind of show them. Got some good paint deco here. The green and the blues match. It's like a metallic shine. It's pretty nice. This guy here, the drone, got some good paint deco. It's actually, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up too well, but it's actually see-through a little bit. It's got that smoky see-through top to it. It's pretty nice. The mouths are all painted except for the inner mouth here. And then the runner is actually got some good like tiger striping paint deco up top with some gold teeth. I don't know if that's gonna pick up too well there. And all the tails are all different. But yeah, I mean they're pretty solid. The build quality themselves of each figure is actually pretty varied. This one probably, the drone here, this one probably being arguably the loosest and the hardest to stand up. Like it's a pretty loose joint there. And then you got the warrior here, who's actually pretty steady, pretty hefty. They stand roughly about 7 inches, the ones that stand here. And then the runner here says it's about 7 inches, but I don't think it truly is. I think it's smaller than 7 inches when it comes to, I guess, the crouching prone position of it. So if we measure out here, each square is roughly about 1 inch. So if we go from here to probably back leg, we're looking at actually about 7 inches. So it's got some good length to it. And what's nice about them is that they're about $9 roughly for each one of these, and they're Walmart exclusive. But they're, just because of the price point is $9 doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad make of a toy. They're actually pretty heavy. The build quality is good. Like it actually has some good joints and like posability. They're not comparable to like the Marvel Legends or the Power Rangers or even the G.I. Joe Classified. They don't have that good of articulation where they have like the crazy butterfly joints or anything like that, but they do have some elbow articulation. It's pretty nice. They do have a shoulder joint, which is pretty good. Very clicky, sounds pretty good. Head swivel, which is nice. The jaw itself opens and closes. Tail swivel, back and forth. That's about it for this guy. Not the best kick in the world, but it's all right. It does just a standard ball and peg joint. Pretty easy to come off. Kind of hard to get back on, but once you do, it has that satisfying snap. Not quite 90 degrees here, but it'll do for what it's trying to do. And then you got just basic ankle pivot and swivel here. And then just like the old Lanard toys, it's got a midsection, like almost ab crunch here, which is actually pretty cool. But yeah, they're pretty articulated. The hands themselves, this is the big complaint that I have, is that they just swivel 360 degrees, and it's kind of lame, because if they had like a wrist articulation, like just a standard peg, it would actually look way better and just feel better to pose and maneuver around. Get the warrior in here. Feel actually, there we go. And the same articulation here as compared to the drone. Mouth, same legs, same, pretty much, it's the exact same thing, but the one thing that we're really looking at is finger sculpting, forearm sculpt. The tail is slightly different, and mostly it's just going to be the tip here, whereas the drone has a bladed tail. The warrior has just a standard tail, like you would normally see. But past that, it's going to be the same build, same style of articulation. Head sculpt's different, paint deco's different, tail's different. That's really the main differences with those guys. But it gets kind of a shoddy wise, which I think is where they really drop the ball, is on this figure, particularly the runner. I love the tail because the tail is far more articulated. It looks like it's on an actual ball. Head actually goes all the way up like it's running, just a little bit of a down motion. Mouth opens, closes, got gold teeth there. But the wrists are very poor. There's no movement. You can turn them 360 degrees, but it's just, it feels cheap, like they didn't try with it. And I get it, it's Lanard Toys. They're not necessarily like a budget toy, but that's what their primary stuff is. Like when you see like the cheap Army Men or the cheap Space Marine guys, that's Lanard Toys. I'm actually shocked that they got the Aliens and the Predators license to do these. But yeah, they do good work. It's just the articulation is pretty bad on this one particular. Like you can outreach or outstretch the arms and the elbows, but there's no articulation here in the knees, the ankles, like nothing. Like you can't pull them out, you can't do anything. So it's very limited on the poses that it can do, and we'll be taking a look at that here in just a moment. We'll get a closer shot in here in just a few moments. But it's, I like the figure, but I don't like the figure. I think it's pretty, not cheap, but lackluster. So we'll go ahead and get a closer look here in just a moment. Alrighty, we went ahead and just got that readjusted here, but I mean overall, figure's alright. As you can see, it's very limited on posability. That's about what we're getting out of that. Not a whole lot, which is pretty lame. When it comes to the other guys here, though, like posing them is alright. You can get some dynamic shots out of them, but he always looks like he's ushering somebody in or holding a plate. Not really particularly scary, but to be fair, these are aimed at a smaller generation of kids, so not necessarily like adult collectors, unless you really are into like aliens. Like I'm a big aliens guy, so I have a bunch of the NECA stuff and the Kenner lines, and even the Kenner line doesn't have necessarily like good articulation. So like, for example, the Panther Kenner compared to like the Runner here, pretty cool, almost like a throwback, but it is what it is. Get that guy out of there. But I think the articulation for what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish on such a budget toy, I think they're worth going out and trying to get. People are buying them up. They're realizing like the potential that they have, especially if you're into the 7-inch line of toys. For like I thought these guys would go well with like the Toon Ninja Turtle line, because they're comical enough, they're colorful, they're fun, and there's a lot of possibilities here to kind of mess around with them. So, and they're $9. So, I mean, the price points, you can't beat that for a decent kids figure if you're not really like looking to collect them all three of them. And this is the line. Like, this is it so far for the 7-inch. And the smaller variants that they have, they did pair them up with like a marine guy. They came with some really chintzy accessories, but the star of the show were these guys. There's also a super deluxe figure, the Queen, which we saw previously in purple, but now they're coming out in a red Queen, which is cool, which is a throwback to a comic book that they did a long time ago. I think it was Dark Horse Comics. They do come with some accessories, like they come with face huggers, which is pretty neat. Not particularly detailed, nor are they articulated. They come with eggs. At least I do believe it was the drone here. Drone came with an egg. Pretty cool. But I think what's the main seller here that the warrior came with is these little capsules. And what's cool about these capsules is that, well, you can take them out. I mean, I think that's neat because you can use these for a whole wide variety of different props and photo shoots and different things that you want to do with them. You fill them with slime, use them as a giant ooze canister for Ninja Turtles, or you can, I know the NECA facehuggers, they fold up pretty nicely, and you can do a display with a bunch of like really detailed facehuggers, or even just the second stage to the facehugger, and I forget exactly what that's called. The chest burster, there it is. You can put some chest bursters in there, and that would be fun. But overall, I think this and the Warrior is probably the star of the show when it comes to the Lanard Toys line. Definitely worth going out, finding, checking out. Overall, I'd score them out of 10, probably a solid 7. And the main draw is the price point and just like the fun possibilities you have with them. The cons being articulation is, it's not good, but it's not bad either. It's not terrible, especially for budget line figures. So I mean, you get some standard articulation. So I would say go out, hunt them down, track them down, see if you like them or not. Because for $9, honestly, you can't beat them. So that's pretty much all I got to say about these guys here. I'm going to wrap up. Have a good night. Bye-bye.